Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I'm your host, Eric Smith, and today I'm talking about Twelfth Krampus Night by Matt Manochio. It's published by Sam Hain Publishing, and it's only available as an ebook because it's a novella, so I don't have anything to hold up and show you. If you want to see that really, really cool cover again, just go back and look at the picture that I have at the beginning of this video. Now, Twelfth Krampus Night is Manochio's second story with Krampus. His first was The Dark Servant, which was a novel and that I reviewed, and I'll have a link for that up here somewhere. And while that novel takes place in modern-day America, Twelfth Krampus Night takes place centuries ago in Bavaria. Our main character is Beata. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. It's spelled B-E-A-T-E. And I looked it up, and I believe that's what the pronunciation was. So Beata is a young woman. She's a seamstress. And when her best friend, Giselle, who is also a seamstress, is found murdered, Beata is recruited to finish Giselle's work making outfits for the sons of the local baron. So Beata and her fiancé Heinrich are taken to the castle where she's going to work on the clothing. Heinrich is going to do some work as a blacksmith. But while they're there, the castle comes under attack. Krampus shows up, as well as an old woman known as Frau Perkta. Again, not sure of the pronunciation. That's what I'm going with. So, of course, Krampus is the dark servant of Santa Claus, where Santa rewards good boys and girls with gifts. Krampus punishes the bad children. Frau Perkta, I had to look her up. We get to know who she is within the confines of the story, but I wanted a little backstory, and essentially another old myth from the same region as Krampus, often depicted as an old woman with a swan or goose foot. And she has something to do with sewing and seamstresses. So during the period between around from Christmas to a little after New Year's, a section of time that is called something, and I can't think of it. But anyway, in this time period, she travels around and visits those who work in sewing. And if they have done all of their work, used up all of their material, done good work throughout the year, she may reward the seamstresses with a coin. But if they haven't, then she will slit open their belly, pull out all their guts, and stuff the empty space with straw. A nice children's tale. So, a very interesting character, to me anyway. And so Krampus and Frau Perkta both show up outside the castle. They both have someone inside the castle that they are after. So they decide to have a little competition to see who can get inside and get to their mark first. And of course, Beata and Heinrich are now trapped inside the castle with these two monsters trying to get in. And there are some human monsters inside as well. So that's basically what's going on in 12th Krampus Night. So you may be asking, Eric, why are you doing this video now? Christmas was a long time ago. And to that, I have three things to say. One, this story takes place in early January, so this review is not as late as it may seem. Two, a good story can be enjoyed any time of year, no matter what time the story itself takes place. And three, why are you talking to your computer? I can't hear you. Anyway, so I really enjoyed this story. My only real complaint is I would have liked for it to have been longer. Novellas are a nice compromise between a short story and a novel, I suppose. But when you have something like this with characters that I really like, of course, I just want more. The human characters are all, well, I was going to say, are all pretty decent. The human characters are all well written. Some of them are not decent at all. Vieta is an interesting character. The Baron's sons are definitely interesting characters, and the people in the castle. And this story very much shows the difference in class. Vieta, Heinrich, Giselle all come from the local village, where it's, you know, it's the poor people, the disenfranchised, those who have to really work their asses off just to have shelter and food. And then on the other hand, you have the castle, and of course the royalty have that privileged outlook, but even the more common folk, I suppose you would call them, that live and work inside the castle have an attitude of privilege, because they're not one of those poor, dirty villagers outside the castle, riding the coattails, basically is what they're doing. You know, they're inside, they're close to the royalty. So there's a clash of classes in this story, which makes for an interesting backdrop for what's really going on, which is the clash of the monsters. Frau Perkta, a character, a mythological character that I was not familiar with, and she's very entertaining. This sort of comes off as this sweet little old lady when she wants to, but incredibly dangerous. And then, of course, we have Krampus. Now, I reviewed The Dark Servant, and I will put a link up above. Can't remember if I mentioned that yet or not. And one of the things I liked most about that book was the personality of Krampus, and that definitely carries over into this story. And Krampus is definitely a monster, and he's got hooves and horns, and he tortures and eats, depending on the version of Krampus you're reading, tortures and eats bad children. He is a monster, but he has personality. The best way, I think, to put it is he reminds me of the original Freddy Krueger. For those of you who have seen the original Nightmare on Elm Street, if you recall that before Freddy Krueger became just this sort of one-liner spouting villain, he was actually very, very creepy, still a little funny on occasion. He had personality, and Krampus has personality. What I'm saying is, Matt Manochio's version of Krampus is akin to the original Freddy Krueger. He's can be incredibly frightening when he's doing his Krampus thing, and yet he can be funny, and he's got a life outside being Krampus. Just really, really a well-built character. I love a good slasher movie, but Michael Myers has no personality. Jason has no personality. Kane Hodder kind of injected a little bit in there, but essentially he's just an unstoppable killing machine. Same with Michael Myers. Freddy Krueger, again, I go back to that, was the one guy in that sort of group that had real personality, and that's what Krampus has. As much as I love all sorts of different kinds of monsters, I really, really just love this version of Krampus. So much fun. And once he and Frau Perkta start interacting, and they set up their challenge, and they're going not quite head to head, although there's a little bit of that. But they're trying to get into their castle, each in their own way. And then while that's going on, we've got all the craziness that's going on inside the castle with Vieta and Heinrich and the Baron's sons and the head of the household and the soldiers and all this stuff going on. There's a lot packed into this short little story, well, short little novella, about 100 pages. Really just a lot of fun. I wish it was longer. I want more of this Krampus. Although I can see where he might be a difficult character to write different stories about without just becoming repetitive. So I don't want Krampus just to have Krampus. So if Mr. Manochio has another good idea for this character, I definitely want to see it. If not, I don't want him to pull a Hollywood and just crank one out to crank one out. That didn't sound right. Anyway, that's 12th Krampus Night. I'm really not sure what else to say. When you have something a little shorter, not always a lot to go into because, of course, I don't want to spoil anything. But I highly recommend it. Which brings me to my rating. And I give 12th Krampus Night by Matt Manochio 4 out of 5 Krampus baskets. And you can see I actually screwed up and I got carried away and started doing the 5th one, so I had to cut a piece out of here. But 4 out of 5, you got his thing that he whips kids with, and of course his chain, and that's his basket that Krampus wears. A fascinating character from Europe that obviously has started really growing here in the States and all over. You know, we had the Krampus movie that just came out this past December. But it's Manochio's version that's really got me hooked. 4 out of 5. Just a lot of fun, some craziness, there's violence, and wow, something happens inside the castle that's just painful to think about. So yeah, definitely pick this up. I hope maybe, you know, they'll find a way to put this into a physical copy. I'm just one of those people that likes to have a physical copy of my books. So let's see. I'll have a link up here somewhere for my Dark Servant review if you want to check that out. I will have links in the description below for 12th Krampus Night, so you can pick that up, and I definitely recommend that you do. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put them in the comments below. If you know how to pronounce any of these people's names that I may or may not have screwed up, let me know. If you have any Krampus stories, please share them. Please like, share, and subscribe. I think that covers everything. So this has been the Low Budget Review Show. I have been Eric Smith, and until next time, read more books.